To discuss this and more, Menzies Research Centre's Nick Cater and the Institute of Public Affairs, the IPA's John Roskam. Gents, welcome to the program. John, what did you make of this admission? Why should I read it, he says. I haven't read it, I'm going to read it. Already know what it says.
I think what you said earlier, Peter, was half right. It was arrogance, not incompetence from the Prime Minister. It's been arrogance that has characterised the entire approach of the PM and the government to the voice. It's arrogance dismissing any questions as to what the Uluru Statement actually is. It's arrogance to dismiss what the implications are. And it just reveals, again, what we've talked about in the past, which is, for the Prime Minister, this is a political partisan project. It's not about being honest with the Australian public, and it's not about being transparent or accountable.
Nick, he calls people like me who question the detail a conspiracy theorist. Now, cast your mind back when Malcolm Turnbull was Prime Minister and he considered the voice that went to Cabinet. Are you telling me that Malcolm Turnbull took a poster to the Cabinet room, that they discussed a poster and rejected the voice? Or did they take the whole 26 pages that his Indigenous agency says is the full statement, that the lawyers in the FOO department in there say is the full statement, that all the co-authors for 6 years have said is the full statement? I mean, these people have only recanted last week where the PM was in trouble. Surely Australians are starting to see through this.
Yeah, well, the word conspiracy theorist these days, or the words conspiracy theorist, it's just another way of trying to win the argument without actually getting into the argument. It's the same with, throwing around words like misinformation or even racist. The Prime Minister will not address the subject of the substance of the complaints about the voice. One thing's interesting, Pete, we've been wondering for a long time. After Garma last year, a year ago, he needed to come back with detail. He needed to make a pub-ready case for the voice. He's failed to do so. I think it's clear now, after that remarkable interview, that he just doesn't know the detail. So he just hasn't got his head around it. Expected to go through on the vibe. It's an incredibly poor performance from him. In fact, diabolically poor. And no wonder the voice is looking like it won't get up.
Yeah, and I think politically, I want to remind people, only 3 out of 10 Australians voted for Anthony Albanese. He is there because there was such a backlash against Scott Morrison. So he hasn't been put under the same pressure that perhaps, say, Bill Shorten was in those 2 elections where he ran and lost. So I think we're going to see more of the Prime Minister coming unstuck in coming months. Just before we leave this issue, if I can, John, the IPA has been cancelled online for things you've posted about the No campaign. I've got a great big sort of no sticker now slapped across my editorials online by Facebook. This is what's coming to ordinary Australians, though, isn't it, if this misinformation, disinformation legislation gets up?
Ordinary citizens are going to be censored by the government, by big tech. And the question is, where is the outcry from the media? When Julia Gillard attempted to censor the mainstream media, there was an uproar. But when the media stand by and allow ordinary citizens and their views to be censored, we have a very significant problem. And it's remarkable that the government thinks it can get away with it, and it has to withdraw the legislation because this cannot stand.